Welcome to Creating Change. Hi, I'm Sharon Chapman, and this is the place to be if you're wanting to improve your health, your mobility, and ultimately your life, so you'll move more, feel, and look better. Welcome to episode number 8. Thank you for your comments on last week's episode on the changing seasons of sex. It inspired a lot of great conversations on our Facebook pages. Let's talk about the emotions of breast cancer. Breast cancer, the one kind of cancer that most women I know are in fear of, they run from, and it's the one that I came to know of as a child. Every woman I know has been affected in one way or another by breast cancer. At the young age of 8, I learned to fear breast cancer, so much that I never really wanted to grow boobs because of it. My Aunt Dorothy, my mom's older sister, developed breast cancer at the young age of 38. It was a horrendous experience for my family, with my mom being one of her caretakers. My aunt had one of her breasts removed. It was in the late 60s, a time when breast cancer was deadly for women, often considered a death sentence. My mom, over the years, has described a few times the gruesome sight of seeing where my aunt's breast used to be. My aunt showed her just one time, and my mom only looked just one time. She describes the radical surgery as complete removal from the top of the shoulder down to her waist and from her breastbone to her armpit and beyond. And that the removal was everything, every muscle, every piece of tissue, down to the ribs. My mom uses the word violation when describing the sight when she saw the aftermath of what the removal of a breast was like during that time. I often accompanied my mom to my Aunt Dorothy's. It was on the way to school each morning. I had very little association to cancer. The only mention of the word cancer as a child in my family before Aunt Dorothy was when my dad and mom spoke quietly of my grandfather's fight with cancer, how my grandfather's leg was removed. He had had bone cancer, so they removed his entire leg up to the hip. Now, removal of a cancerous body part was a common practice during the 50s, 60s, and 70s, followed by radiation. They didn't know any better. Cancer was an unknown, with the treatment often being so evasive that my mom still refers to seeing my aunt's missing breast as being the worst thing she's ever seen in her 86 years of life. I have 2 memories of breast cancer as a child. I remember the day my aunt showed my mom the surgery site. My mom's face, her lost look, a depth of shock and sadness that honestly, I never want to see that on my mom's face again. But the one thing that bothered me more was the smell of burning skin from radiation. Over the weeks that my aunt suffered, that smell remained. My mouth would immediately water, followed by the worst taste in my mouth. And from that day on, I honestly hated going to my aunt's house. I'd be found climbing a tree or sitting in a bush to avoid the smell. Now, I may not have seen cancer, but my nose could smell it, and it might explain why I've always been sensitive to smell. This sense of smell triggers emotions, and to this day, the smell of anything burning evokes a memory of fear. And here I am 50 years later, watching women I know go through this nightmare battle against breast cancer. All the women I know have had a mom or a sister, an aunt, a cousin, or a grandma, or a friend that has had breast cancer. I know 4 women personally myself. Breast cancer creates so many emotions. I don't want to shortchange any specific kind of cancer. I despise cancer and I would love to wipe it off the earth, but it's breast cancer that creates such emotional turmoil for women. You risk getting breast cancer by just being a woman and by growing older. It made me curious as to how women truly feel about their breasts. We're all attached, right? So I began to talk to women about their breasts and how they felt about them and what their breasts represented. I ended up surveying 42 women, ages 25 to 54. I had great, deep, personal discussions and discovered there were a lot of commonalities in all of these age groups. Of the 42 women, 82% felt as though their breasts symbolized womanhood, explaining how they watched their breasts change from a child through puberty up to adulthood, after pregnancy and nursing, even after aging. Of that same 82%, every one of them had attempted to nurse a child following birth. Most did successfully, while a few struggled with nursing. But they felt as if they associated their breasts with the early nurturing and connections to their children. Over 90% believed that breasts often defines their femininity, and most defined their breasts as being the essential body part in being a woman. Now, on the other side of the coin, 60% of these women believed that their own breasts were misproportioned and did not match their body. Their appearance of their breasts was important, not just for themselves, but primarily for their partner. Most of these women spoke of how their husbands were boob men, and they knew their breasts were not big enough for their partner. It was only a small portion of the 42, 26% to be exact, that associated the size of their breasts with confidence. And this was only after they had the girls enlarged did they feel confident. We had a wide mixture of emotions, and everyone concluded that our breasts represent a symbol of womanhood. 1 in 8 women will get breast cancer. It's the second leading cancer behind skin cancer. I've known 4 women personally that has fought breast cancer, and I asked them the same questions as I asked the 42 women. All 4 understood why other women felt the way they did about the symbolism, the association to children and the emotional connection, and the importance of appearance for relationships. But their focus was balanced on survival. The 4 spoke of the initial shock, the sadness, the fear of having their breasts removed, the fear of chemo, the fear of recovering from chemo, the fear of loss of hair, the distress, the turmoil that they would put their families through. They spoke of how their partners would see them, and they wondered how they would still be attracted to them. The 4 also spoke of the anxiety of being led by new doctors, of being bombarded with so much new information that they would feel lost, alone at times. Their doctors would suggest Googling their kind of cancer when leaving their office. Apparently a common suggestion by doctors that gives such horrible news to women. A common message by each was that they knew that their doctor cared, was gentle in the delivery of this news. But they spoke of their fear being so deep and overwhelming of the unknown. And one friend said that she felt like death was always standing or knocking at her door, and she always wanted to run for the hills. They spoke of the overwhelming process of searching for the correct treatment options, searching for comfort, searching for information. All spoke of being obsessive to a degree. They wanted to understand everything they could on their specific cancer diagnosis. They wanted to feel more informed in order to feel more comfortable with their surgery options, to alleviate their fear, their uneasiness that camped at their door every morning. Every phase that they spoke of was difficult. I cannot even imagine this level of fear, this level of anxiety and stress of going through this whole process. We have a deeper sense of the importance of breasts, but their breasts represented a disease. Yes, but losing them was just a small price to pay for life. Like in every phase or situation in life, even in breast cancer, and like the 42 women I spoke of, there's always two sides to their coin too. These 4 had found a new respect for their breasts, their lives, even their existence. 3 out of the 4 women had early detection, which makes an enormous difference in the surgery, in the recovery, and in the treatments, and most importantly, their survival. All 4 had complete mastectomies, while 3 of them had breast implants, and the other one is waiting. All 4 spoke about the beauty of breasts and how thankful they were to be able to get new ones, how blessed they felt to have survived, and how fortunate that due to early detection, that they were getting perky new boobs. All 4 concluded that their entire lives changed because of breast cancer. They move better, they eat better, their daily relationships and daily behaviors are more powerful with meaning, and that mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally, they were better, even with the removal of their 2 girls. They discovered through their fears, through their battles, that their current health and lifestyle was the perfect medicine for overcoming fear and the unknown. These 4 are remarkable women to have overcome this kind of fear. I'm proud to say that 2 of them are leading forces in my community on breast cancer awareness. One of them is joining the forces of a program out of California called Women Guiding Women, for women who have survived breast cancer past the 1-year mark. Women Guiding Women is a program out of Long Beach Medical Center. It involves peer mentors that are specifically trained to help newly diagnosed patients navigate their journey in breast cancer. Through their own experience, the mentors deliver knowledge and support, encouragement, and friendship. Since every woman has an individual treatment plan, they carefully match you with a peer mentor who has gone through a comparable experience. Because breast and gynecological cancer affects the entire family, they match the woman with a breast cancer peer mentor or gynecological cancer peer mentor who has dealt with similar concerns, including partners, children, parents, and friends. Awareness is always the key to a better life. One of the 4 women said that with all the ugliness, anxiety, fear, and pain that having breast cancer brought about, one thing happened she never expected, and that was discovering a balance for a better life. She feels like she knows herself better at the end of the suffering and even after the loss of her girls. Her experience allowed her to see what having a quality life is all about. Quality relationships, quality nutrition and movement plans, mindful behaviors, and routines, and it has allowed her to have a better quality habits in her everyday life. It's bettered her life. Now, this lady's attitude is not like a lot of breast cancer survivors, but boy, did I love her attitude. She epitomized what a woman should always strive for, with or without breast cancer. Striving to have a better quality life, even after losing her breasts. Lifestyle is her best and newest medicine, and a huge rediscovery of a rich quality life. Thanks for joining me. We're hoping that if you're a woman, and if you're over 50, that you understand early detection is a huge key to surviving breast cancer. So don't give up the self-breast exams each month and continue to have your yearly checkup. We would love to hear your thoughts, your ideas on this podcast and future podcasts. Please join us at Creating Change on Facebook. If you are in need of any kind of guidance or assistance in regards to finding women's health services with breast cancer, please drop us a note at Restoring Cores. We'd be happy to help you find someone in your community that is offering these health services or put you through to the American Cancer Society in your community or state. Thank you to the 4 women who shared their stories of breast cancer. And thanks for joining us.